Hey guys, BJ the Brave here, back with some more Shadowverse Worlds Beyond. Today I am bringing you not just a deck guide, but to be honest, probably the deck guide if you're looking to climb the ladder fast. Now, honestly, as I've got to play this deck more and more and test it against different meta decks, I actually think this deck might be tier 1. It's a super powerful deck, and I am winning games anywhere between turn 4 and turn 7 quite frequently. And so when you work out the speed and the return on RP for that, there's no competition as far as I'm concerned. Like, if you just want to climb the ladder quick, this is absolutely the deck for you. So what we're going to do is I'm going to jump into the deck that quickly got me on a 7-win streak, and then I'm going to show you some gameplay. And yeah, there's some interesting combos and decisions to be made in the deck. So it's quite a fun one to play as well. So stick around to the end and make sure you see all of the games. If you're enjoying the content, by the way, check out the meta snapshot that's up right now and some of the other deck guides as well. Appreciate all the support. If you want to hit the sub or like this video, all of that stuff goes a long way. So much appreciated. Anyway, let's dive on into the deck. Okay, so what we're trying to do here is get our early game units down quick, right? So we're always looking for the 1-drops, and we run 6 of them. We got 3 Liliths, and when this gets killed, it adds a bat to our hand. Remember, bats are 1/1s that also have heal, so that's really key. And then we also have the Cultivator of Malice, which when that dies, it gives us a ghost, and ghosts have storm, right? So that's more 1/1s that can go face. And then in the 2-drops, we do run the Beryl Nightmare Incarnate. This is a 3/3, so we can often hit their face twice with this, and but by the time they clear it, there's no other 2-drop in the game that has this kind of attack, right, to stand up to Beryl. So really love this card. This deck was tailor-made for this card. We do run 3 copies of the Devious Lesser Mummy. It's an okay drop to drop on turn 2, of course, but obviously in the later game, once we've built up some necromancy points, this thing comes down and actually gains storm. So there's a really nice combination with things like things that buff it, basically. It could be Olivia, it could be other things, to get extra reach damage. And we want to be using our Evo points for reach in this deck, guys. We don't really want to be using them for removal. We really want to be using it to do extra damage to face and then forcing them to use their Evo in response to ours. Now, we have got a single copy of Soul Predation. To be honest, I think you can get away without this card. I've got it in here just because, like, there can be those games where it does just get dragged out a little bit more, and this can just give you another life, another opportunity to just extend a few cards and get the value you needed to cross the line and get the win. So I have got a single copy in there, but that's definitely a flex slot. That's definitely something that you could change. You can put a 3rd copy of not Wing Servants. We've already got 3 copies of that. You could put an extra Balto in there, for example. Moving on, we've got 3 copies of Rage of Serpents. And Rage of Serpents, essentially what this is doing is face damage, right? This is our burn. So we've attacked our enemy with our followers, and then we've got a couple of these in hand. They do 3 damage each, and we can kind of finish our opponent off. So we don't really want to keep them in our opening hand. I usually throw them away in the mulligan and look to draw into them later game. We got 3 copies of the Winged Servant. I really do like this card. 2 copies of Bat. Helps us to go wide, and of course bats can be set up so then next turn you can Evo, and they do 3 damage but also 3 heal as well. Now, Aiel's quite an interesting card because it's not a very well statted unit, as you can see, for 3, but it does summon a bat, and it says any bats while this is alive gets storm, but they do deal 1 damage to your own leader as a consequence. This is pretty good. There's some nice combinations that you can do. For example, on turn 5, you can play Arrel and Winged Serpent, and that means that this summons 2 bats, and then they'll obviously get Storm as well. So that's suddenly 3 bats from hand that can suddenly go face, and if you obviously Evo them, that's 5. If you Super Evo them, that's 6. So some nice reach damage just from that little combo there. We do have a single Belcher. Like I said, you could run a second one just for the consistency of the crest if you want. But we've just got 1 here and 1 Soul Perdition. Vuela is a really good removal tool and because it helps you snowball in this deck, right? Why do we want a rush that just trades? Well, because if we've got a 1-drop down, a 2-drop, and then he retaliates with a 2-drop, then Voella comes on, takes out his 2-drop, but keeps our 1 and 2-drop alive. So it's that momentum basically that allows us to just take over the early game and do basically too much damage. If our opponent can't stem the damage early game, they will lose to our late game for sure. Now, we got 3 copies of Shadow Crypt, and that is another really important combo piece. The 2 ghosts that come out, obviously, they're protected. We can bring them out, then we can Evo them. They also combo really well with on the next turn 4, we've got Excella. And Excella basically has Storm as well. And instead of having 1 attack, she gets an attack equal to the number of allied followers on the field. So, for example, if you've played the Shadow Crypt, you then burst the Shadow Crypt and then play Excella on turn 4. And just from those 2 alone, she'd end up being a 3 Storm. You can then Evo her and do more damage, or you might have already had something else on the board. So I quite like Excella in this deck. Really, really nice. Then we've got 3 copies of Aragravy. And Aragavi, Aragavi is awesome. Really good in this deck actually, because not only does it basically do the removal that you want it to do, without needing an Evo, but actually the Evo plays into what this deck is trying to do more than any other Abyss deck. Like, this deck is trying to burn our opponent down, so the fact that you deal 3 damage to both leaders only benefits you in an aggro deck, and so this is a real star in this deck. And as you can see, guys, we're almost there. All we've got is 2 copies of Olivia and 3 copies of Odin. So the copies of Olivia, very, very good in this deck. They are heal, they allow us to draw 1, and they allow us to often play a Super Evo, not just on Olivia, but onto something that's got Storm. Like, again, that could come from a Shadow Crypt Memorial or a Ghost that's sitting in hand. And then last but not least, we've got Odin, right? We've got 3 copies of Odin, and this is just an absolute beast in this deck, because we will often play this on turn 7 with a Super Evo. That's 7 damage, and that's often enough to end the game. Obviously, if you had Crypts already on the board, that'd be 9 damage. So just giving us tons and tons of reach, or even if it doesn't finish our opponent off, it's like they'll have, like, you know, 3 health left, and we finish them off with a Rage Serpent or something like that. So the deck is super, super fast. I would just say mulligan very, very hard for... I usually will keep a copy of Aragravy. And I would say, other than that, I am really, really looking for that 1, 2, 3 curve, right? So if you can find that 1, 2, 3 curve, maybe if you've got like 1, 2, maybe I'd keep... there was a game I lost, I think, where I kept Excella and Shadow Crypt, and actually was just too slow, and I didn't draw the 1 and 2 drops. So definitely don't do that. I think you've got to go really hard for the 1 and 2 drops outside of Aragravy. All right, let's jump into some games now and see how it works in practice. Okay, so first up we have got Swordcraft. So you can see here, look, we've got the 2/3 and the Aragravy. Happy days. We don't have the 1 drop. However, we are going second, so we're going to actually play out the extra player point here, so we can start playing from turn 1. We could have saved that so that we could have played Aragavi on 4. That is the only consideration there. But we actually make the trade here. Now, this is one of those situations, especially against Swordcraft. This is one of the more challenging matchups, to be honest, for this deck. And I feel like it might be the only matchup where doing a little bit of early trading is necessary. And I don't know. I can understand going face there and playing it differently, but Sword will be able to quickly take over the board and probably end up burning us down if we go down that route. So here we do Evo with the Storm and put on some damage. But the problem with that is, obviously, Zirconia is now going to bring out soldiers who are going to be able to attack. So, you know, again, there is the argument there that we shouldn't have gone face. But this is what our grave is all about, right? Making up for the fact that we were greedily going face and not trading. That's what Aragavi just makes up for. And as you can see, we're now in position where we're saying, okay, let's have a burn off. Who's going to get there first? Now, interesting, Vals does put himself on Super Evo because he's in the shadow. But again, this is where Aragavi can just help us to deal with these types of situations. And yeah, we're going to Super Evo the Devious Lessamon because it can attack. No point doing Aragavi here where we'd harm ourselves as well as them when we could just basically put that Super Evo on a Storm unit, right? So you've always going to weigh up that option. And basically, this is what we were talking about in the deck tech, right? We've set up the board in a way that basically on turn 7, Odin just wins us the game. If he had a ward, which they don't, we'd be able to take it out. We've kept the one Super Evo, put that on Odin, and that's all she wrote. GG. Hit that thumbs up for the win against Swordcraft. Okay, so now we are playing against Abyss. We don't know yet whether it's going to be aggro or control. So this time we don't play the extra player point because we could have been left with the turn of doing nothing, whereas we've got a lot of 3-drops. So it's much better to play the player point here. Because he developed the 2-2, we can respond and take over the board, and now we're in a pretty good position. He does use his Memorial just to clear, which we're happy about. Already forcing him to play for the board. So Ariel comes down. Is he going to use this again? No, this time he's not. This time he's actually going to bank it. Don't forget, by the way, the mirror match that Odin can take out things like the crypts. Now, also very pivotal in the mirror match, you really want to try and get an Evo off on a bat if you can. That's really potentially going to help make the difference in an Aggro Abyss mirror. He Haragavi us. We're going to Haragavi him back. Take over the board. And actually, we do go ahead because we are ahead on life. This is when you would Evo Aragavi. Also forces him now to really do something to react to the board. And I think he's going to be using the control tool here, the Reapers, and there it is. And down comes Vuela. Which again, he also Evos. Down comes Devious Mummy. We've got 2 Super Evos. One of the things you need to do with this deck, guys, is make sure you are using your Evos and Super Evos. Otherwise, it's a wasted resource. You should be getting to turn 7 and only have one left. If you've not only got 1 left by turn 7, you've probably done something wrong. It's a really nice... I'm not saying that absolutely every single game is going to fall like that, but I would say it's quite a reasonable marker to know whether you're misplaying with the deck. Like, if you get to turn 7, where you can basically play Odin, you should have 1 Evo or Super Evo left, probably a Super Evo. Otherwise, you've probably been a little bit greedy with your resources. Okay, so now we got the 1, 2, 3 and the Aragavi again, right? So really mulliganing well with this deck is so important. I actually feel like the only games I've really lost are when I've mulliganed either badly or got really unlucky. It's quite hard to get unlucky if you make the correct decisions just because it's such a low curve. Probably another reason that makes this such a great deck for ladder. Now you can see here, he plays the 2-2, but this is where Beryl really comes in, right? Because he just can't be matched on the 2. And look, he's having to play 2 2-drops to deal with our 1 2-drop. It's just phenomenal, and that's keeping our 1-1s alive. And we've already pushed 3 damage. And now down comes Balto, and the crest, of course, is going to deal 1 damage to both our leaders every turn, which we don't care about because we're all about winning the burn down race. We are the beatdown. And here comes Hector, and it's pretty easy. Here we go, immediately +2 because we already had 2 units down on the board. And you can see here, we've just finished turn 4, and he's got 6 health left. You know, he's just trying to ramp up, and he's got 3 cards to deal with. And so you can Aragavi, and you can Evo. You can see why you need to play those Evos quick, because the value in the deck is, oh boy, so good. Ding dong. It's Runecraft time. Okay. Not a great starting hand there, so we mulligan everything away except for the 2-drop. Foresight from our player, so we know it's probably going to be spell boost. Down comes Lil. Pure spell boost. Down comes Devious Mummy. And generally in this deck, we can kind of go ahead and just get as early a board down as possible. This deck usually struggles. As you can see, it's playing all its spells and it's doing all its things. It does have the Storm Blast, so that's a bit unfortunate for us. But, you know, we're pushing pretty nice chip damage, building the board. You can't play Anangria yet. Next turn he can, though. So now we can evolve. This is where we should absolutely be evolving. And look at this, you get the Evo as well. And that's all she wrote. They just, you know, 4, 6, 7, 8. We had 10 damage there with the Evo. So they just can't recover from that board state. So yeah, pretty quick game against Runecraft there. So let's play them again and see if this one goes any different. We can just keep the 2-drop. Now we got a nice 1, 2, 3 combo here. But yeah, generally, if they're not playing the Earthright stuff, you really want to get units down quickly. I mean, that's true anyway, right? But against Runecraft, they often can't recover. Okay, so this is a different version. Pascal's Dance. This is definitely going to have either be Earthright or have more hybrid approach. Anyway, we're going to focus on developing decent minions in the early game. Now, he does have the Stormy Blast, which is unfortunate for us. He actually got the double Stormy Blast. Okay, so this guy's really got his anti-aggro tools prepared, locked and loaded. We're still going to play Bato and get the crest down. And now Aril. Now, this is his turn 5, right? So we are going to make use of the bat. We're going to heal and deal 3 damage with the Evo. Obviously, turn 5, we're always expecting a Burgeon or a Anangria. We clear up with some gravy. And we will Evo again. See this really aggressive use of your evolutions and super Evos. Got to be done. Got to be done. Now Anangria comes down, putting the blocker down, but actually needs to use it to trade. We're at turn 6. Obviously, we want to be doing everything we can to push damage here so that next turn we can use Odin. So again, super aggressive on the Super Evo. And we're going to play the Rage of Serpents now. And actually, we don't even need Odin. Odin would be another 7 damage next turn, but we'd already got him down to -2 that turn, so... Pretty disgusting, right? Pretty quick. Okay, so as always with Abysscraft, we don't quite know whether it's control or aggro. But again, lovely to see the 1-drops and keeping 1 copy of Argavi. Now, as soon as we see the Cultivator from our opponent, we know we are in a genuine mirror match. And now we are in a race, and we are losing, because this is one time where going second is probably not good, right? So our opponent is genuinely ahead here. And we still do attack face. And one of the reasons for that is because I've got the Aragavi in hand. You know, we don't know what he's got in hand. I mean, this guy's kind of hurting him as much as us in this thing. So... you know, we're going to go ahead and just use this now. And what we're going to do is we're going to trade temporary units with his permanent units. So that's one way that we can try to sneak a slight edge, if you like, a slight advantage. And he would have loved to Evo, but obviously couldn't Evo there. This is the first turn that we can now Evo. So we're going to basically clear his bats here with Gravy. Before he gets a chance to Evo the bat. Evo in a bat can be a big difference in this matchup. Pretty even on life now. He's going to hit us with his Gravy. We have got a slightly awkward hand here. This turn is awkward, depending on if we really need to draw something useful. And very unfortunately, we draw a Beryl. Beryl is not good at this stage because we can't afford to take the damage that Beryl will do on us. So instead, what we're going to do is play this out. We're actually going to buff the bat, which gives us the heal, clear the unit out, and know that we're in a stronger situation, obviously, here, where we've now got the Odins lined up. You know, because, again, putting him on the 7, like, there's no way he's going to use Evo here with Gravy. And as long as he's got no heal from like a bat, we can just use Odin here. Come down, use the Super Evo. And that's all she wrote. Got to be super aggressive on those Evos and Super Evos. Look, we won the game and we still had 2 Evos left, right? Okay, so final game, guys. If you're enjoying this, don't forget to hit that thumbs up down below. Consider subscribing to the channel for more content like this. We're going to go out with one against Swordcraft. So obviously, again, Swordcraft can compete well in the early game, so looking for those 1s and 2s are really important. Yeah, you can trade nicely with that. Down comes Beryl. Now, Vals is a real problem for us. He also on turn 3, so Princess can harm us, but he actually runs the Grimnir, so we're kind of happy to see that. We trade well into the Grimnir. And we'll come down and trade the board. So we have taken over the board at this point. The Band of Princesses, wow. Was not expecting that. To rebuild the board with Arul, we can Evo here. Do we actually take it? We should. We do take it. We Evo the bat. We are down to 13 and he's at 20. So we've really got to start doing something about this. Another Band of... Wow. So he's well teched to deal with these low to the ground wide boards. Again, second Evo on a bat, right? And look at what's happened. We've swung from being on 13 and him on 20 to him on 12 and us on 18. So the Evo in bats is like absolutely clutch in this deck. Now he's built a hell of a board here. But we're counting up, we're adding up. Now he's got 8 there, life in total. So we know Gravy will leave something on 1. We actually decide to go ahead and Super Evo so we can kill this thing. Put another 1 damage on. Obviously does the 3. And then we can play the extra player point out and drop this as well. And then we save the Memorial because if we want to play Olivia, obviously we can Super Evo Olivia and put some more storm damage on the ghost that comes out. So we see what we get, first of all. Now what we should do here... Yeah, that's right, yeah. And we can Rage of Serpents for the win. GG. So there you go, guys. There is my Abyss aggro. Like I say, I really feel like this is a tier 1 deck. Certainly in terms of climbing the ladder quickly. I think this is the best deck to climb the ladder quickly with. And the best thing about it is it really isn't that intensive on like resources, right? In terms of legendaries and things like that. So go ahead. If you want to one deck it and climb ladder fast, this is definitely the deck for you. Hope you enjoyed that. Hit that like and thumbs up. Check out this video next, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.